All right, let's dive in. We're tackling AI in education around the world.
A truly global topic.
Exactly. Everyone's talking about the future of education with AI, right? And to get a handle on things, we
Eh.
thought, why not look at what different countries are already doing, bringing AI into their classrooms? You found some really interesting research for this,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
including this overview by Giancarlo Brotto,
Yeah,
who really seems to know
he really knows his stuff.
his stuff when it comes to like implementing AI in all sorts of organizations.
Yeah, definitely a good place to start, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that jumped out at me from his work
Okay.
is just how many different approaches there are. I mean,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
it's not like there's
It's a
one,
diverse landscape.
right. It's not like everyone's doing the same thing.
Yeah, there's no single playbook, which is what I find so fascinating about it.
Absolutely. It's like every country is running its own,
Little experiment.
yeah, like a little experiment. And some are, really diving in head
Full
first.
first, yeah.
And others are kind of dipping their toes in a little more
Just a
cautiously.
little more hesitant.
Yeah, exactly. So where should we start? I mean, what are some of the countries that are like making the biggest splash?
Well, I think we got to start in East Asia. South Korea and Singapore, for sure.
Okay.
They're really making some waves with their plans.
Yeah, and South Korea really stood out to me with their AI-powered digital textbooks.
Right, yeah.
I mean, they're investing, what was it, like
$69.3 million.
$69.3 million in developing these textbooks that can actually, like, tailor the lessons to each student,
Adapt, yeah.
to their learning style, to their pace. It's like,
Huge.
it's a whole other level. It's not just like tweaking the existing system. It's like
It's next level.
next level.
Personalized learning.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think, it's not just about, having the coolest tech.
Right.
They're also sending a very deliberate signal, I think. They're saying, we see AI mastery as absolutely essential for staying competitive in the global economy. So
Oh, yeah,
it's a strategic investment.
absolutely.
But what I find really interesting is they're not just focused on the tech itself. They're also, training
People.
Yeah, like 1,200 digital tutors
Wow.
to support teachers in the
Oh,
classroom.
so it's not
So it's not just about
replacing teachers.
replacing teachers, no.
It's about, yeah, giving them tools
Yeah,
to really help.
to augment, to enhance, to support.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, so South Korea is doing that. What about Singapore? How are they?
So Singapore's got this really cool thing. It's called the Adaptive Learning System, and it's specifically for math.
Okay.
And it's integrated into their online platform
Mhm.
called Singapore Student Learning Space.
Right.
And this adaptive learning system, it basically gives students personalized recommendations based on their progress.
So it's like having a personal
tutor in your pocket
Yeah.
is always tracking your progress.
I'm picturing a student, maybe they're struggling with a particular math concept, and this system is like, boom, swoops in with these targeted exercises or explanations.
Right.
And like guides them through it.
Tailored to what you need in that moment.
Yeah, it sounds incredibly effective.
It is pretty remarkable.
But do you think there's a risk that students get so used to this level of like
oh, I see what you're...
of personalization
Yeah.
that they struggle in situations where they don't have that AI support?
That is a really good question.
Like, do they become too reliant on it?
And it's something researchers are actively studying right now.
Okay.
It highlights the need for balance, right? Like we want to harness AI strengths,
Yeah.
but also make sure that students are developing those essential skills,
Yeah.
like critical thinking, independent problem solving,
Right, right.
that they're not just, becoming passive recipients of information.
Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. So we've got South Korea and Singapore, kind of charging ahead on the tech front. What about other parts of the world, like Europe? I know Finland and the UK are doing some interesting things.
They are indeed. They're definitely taking a different approach. Finland, they're always pioneers in education.
Right.
And they've set this really ambitious goal of upskilling 54,000 Finns
Wow.
with free online AI courses.
Okay.
They're using platforms like Vil, which has built-in AI for feedback and analytics to help people learn more effectively.
So they're really focusing on making sure.
Yeah, digital literacy. It's like a national commitment.
Yeah, it's not just for kids. It's
For everyone.
for everyone.
Because in a world where AI is rapidly changing everything,
Right.
we all need to be digitally literate.
Okay, yeah, I totally agree with that. But do you think there's a risk that this kind of approach It prioritizes the technical skills
Phil.
over, like, maybe some of the other essential areas of learning.
Well, that's where their focus on guidelines and frameworks comes in.
Okay.
See, they're not just throwing tech at the problem.
Right.
They're carefully thinking about the ethical implications, the potential downsides.
Yeah.
It's like building a house, they're making sure the foundation is solid
Oh, I like that.
before they start adding all the fancy features.
Yeah, a strong foundation. Okay, so Finland's doing that. What about the UK? What are they up to?
So the UK is taking, I would say, a more targeted approach. They're investing £1 million
Okay.
in EdTech companies specifically to develop AI tools for things like teacher feedback and marking.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So could that free up teachers' time
Potentially.
to have, like, a more valuable interaction with students?
Well, that's the hope, right? If these tools can automate some of
Like the tedious tasks.
the more tedious tasks, yeah, then teachers have more time for things like personalized instruction,
Right.
mentorship, fostering creativity, the stuff where that human interaction is still so crucial.
Yeah.
That's the idea, anyway.
Okay. And before we move on from Asia,
Yes.
we've got to talk about China and Japan.
Oh, right. Two more really interesting examples.
Yeah, because they're doing things a little differently too, right?
Yeah, China's taking this bold, systemic approach.
Okay.
They've designated 184 schools as AI education bases.
Wow.
They're really serious about this, and they're aiming to embed AI learning deeply into the curriculum, even from a young age.
Okay.
It's like build a workforce that's fluent in AI from the ground up.
Yeah.
It's ambitious.
Wow, that is ambitious. Okay, so China's going all in. What about Japan? Are they kind of following that lead, or?
It's interesting. Japan, despite being, famous for technology and robotics,
Right, yeah.
they're actually taking a more cautious stance,
Okay.
especially with generative AI, like ChatGPT.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't banned these tools outright.
Okay.
But there are strict guidelines, especially for younger students, like passing off AI-generated work as your own.
Oh, yeah.
Big no-no.
Oh, yeah.
Considered cheating.
Makes sense.
So they're sending a clear message about academic integrity in this new age of AI.
So even in the land of robots, they're being careful about AI in classrooms. It's like every country is
wrestling
with this.
With this balance.
Yeah, between embracing the potential and preserving, like, the core values of education.
Absolutely. A very delicate balance.
And that brings us to the United States.
Where, it's all about keeping humans at the helm.
Right.
With AI as this powerful supporting tool.
Right. And, the U.S. Department of Education has been very clear about this.
Very clear.
They're like, AI should support teachers.
Yeah.
Not replace them.
Not replace them.
And they have this whole human-centered approach.
Right.
Where it's really about using AI to enhance the teaching and learning experience.
Yeah, not just automating everything.
Right. And they even have an AI toolkit for schools, like a whole toolkit to...
A whole resource guide.
Yeah, to help people figure this stuff out.
To help educators navigate these complex questions.
Okay, so that's a really...
And they're investing a lot in research, too.
Oh, okay.
Trying to really understand the implications of AI in education, especially around things like data privacy, and making sure that AI-powered tools are accessible to all students equitably, regardless of background.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's a very thoughtful approach.
It sounds like they're trying to chart a course that, like, gets the benefits, but also safeguards the
human element.
The heart of education.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got the U.S. Any other countries that are doing something that we should highlight?
We can't leave out Australia.
Oh, okay.
They've taken a really proactive stance.
Right. They've actually implemented a national framework.
Wow.
For using generative AI in schools.
Okay, so that's specifically for?
Specifically for generative AI, like ChatGPT, those kinds of tools.
Okay, so tell me about this framework.
Well, it's really comprehensive. Like, it outlines 6 key principles for responsible use.
Okay.
25 guiding statements.
Wow.
And resources for teachers, students, even parents.
Parents, too.
Yeah, they're not left out. So it's like a roadmap, right, for navigating the AI frontier in education.
I'm impressed.
And what's really cool is it shows that a country can embrace AI innovation, but also put safeguards in place to ensure that AI is used ethically.
Right.
Effectively, they're showing that it's possible to have both cutting-edge technology and a strong commitment to student well-being.
Okay, wow. So we've taken this whirlwind tour.
A whirlwind tour.
Around the world. And it seems like there's no, like...
No one-size-fits-all.
One-size-fits-all approach.
Every country is different.
Everyone's tailoring their strategy to their own context, their values, their goals.
Their unique circumstances.
Yeah. So as we're, like, looking at all of this, what are some of your, like, initial takeaways from this global exploration?
Well, what really strikes me is that we're witnessing a fundamental shift in how we even think about education
Okay.
in the age of AI.
Right, right.
It's not just about adding some new tech tools to the mix.
Yeah.
It's about reimagining the whole purpose and process of learning.
Ooh, I like that. That's a perfect way to think about it. And that actually leads perfectly into the next part of our deep dive. We're going to go deeper into like the implications of these different approaches.
Yeah, where do we go from here?
Yeah, exactly.
What does this all mean? Yeah, it's like we're watching different countries answer the same question in totally different ways.
Yeah.
And that question is,
Like, what's the best way to get students ready
yeah, how do we prepare them?
for a future with AI everywhere?
Exactly.
And some of the answers are kind of surprising.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't think that Japan, a country known for robots, would be so cautious about AI in the classroom.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that it's not just about the tech itself, it's about the culture, how different societies view these new technologies, and maybe they're onto something. While some countries are racing to put AI into everything, others are really focusing on those human skills that AI can't replicate.
Like what? Give me an example.
Critical thinking, creativity, empathy, the things that make us human, right?
And makes you wonder if focusing too much on AI skills could actually hurt those human skills.
Yeah, it's a valid concern. Think about those AI-powered textbooks we talked about in South Korea.
Right.
What happens when those students have to engage with a complex text on their own or collaborate with someone who learns at a different pace?
That's a really good point. It's like that old saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime.
Exactly. Are we teaching students to fish in the digital age or just handing them AI-powered fish on a silver platter?
Right. Okay, so that's where those countries taking a more measured approach, like Finland and the UK, come in.
Yeah, they're investing in AI, don't get me wrong, but they're also putting a lot of emphasis on those ethical guidelines, those frameworks to make sure AI is used responsibly.
So it's like they're saying, hold on a minute, let's not forget what's really important about education, the connections, the mentorship, the spark you get when a teacher and student really connect.
Exactly. And this raises a big question for you, the listener. What do you think the ideal balance looks like between technology and human interaction in education?
Are we trying to find ways for AI to help teachers do their jobs better? Or are we heading towards a future where AI takes center stage?
And what does that mean for the next generation of learners?
Because the decisions we make today will have huge consequences down the line.
Think about those 184 AI education bases in China. They're creating a generation that will be totally comfortable with AI from a really young age.
It's like building a whole society that speaks AI.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, but also
a little bit scary. What are the unintended consequences of that?
Yeah. Like what if that emphasis on AI leads to less creativity?
Or less critical thinking.
Or a devaluing of subjects that aren't related to tech.
Right. It's a good reminder that even the best plans can have some unexpected results.
So we really need to keep talking about this, keep thinking critically about this.
We need to constantly ask ourselves, what are we trying to achieve with AI in education?
Are we just trying to create workers with the latest tech skills, or are we trying to do something bigger?
Are we trying to help students become well-rounded individuals, people who can think for themselves, solve tough problems, contribute to society?
Because if we forget about those bigger goals, we're basically turning education into just job training.
Which wouldn't be good for anyone.
Yeah, that's a sobering thought, but also empowering in a way.
How so?
Well, because we have the power to shape the future of education, and that includes how we use AI.
And it's not just up to the politicians and the teachers.
Right.
It's up to all of us parents, students, communities.
So to all of you listening out there, what are you hoping for? What are your concerns about AI in education?
What do you see as the benefits and the potential problems?
And how can we make sure that AI is used to create a better learning experience for all students, no matter their background?
These are tough questions, but they're questions we need to answer.
Because we're not just talking about the future of education, right?
We're talking about the future of humanity.
Because how we teach the next generation will shape the world they create.
Exactly.
It feels like we're standing at this, like, fork in the road, you know?
Crossroads.
Yeah, crossroads. We've got this incredible technology that could completely change how we learn, but at the same time, we can't forget about those big questions.
Yeah, the age-old questions.
Right, about what education is really for.
The purpose of it all.
And how important that human connection is.
It's not just about downloading information.
Exactly.
It's about growing as human beings.
Yeah. So how do we bring those two worlds together? How do we use AI without losing sight of what really matters in education?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right. Like, it's like we're trying to write a new chapter.
A new chapter.
In the story of learning. And AI is this brand new character.
The new character on the scene.
Yeah. But we get to decide what role it plays, right?
We have the power to shape that narrative.
Okay, so that's why I think these global experiments are so important.
Yeah, each country is kind of writing its own version of that story.
Right, they're showing us different ways that AI can fit in, how we can regulate it, how we can use it to actually help students learn.
Different paths forward.
Yeah, so what can we learn from all these different approaches? Like if you were giving advice to a country about how to do this whole AI in education thing,
Okay.
what would you tell them?
The first thing I would say is start with a clear vision.
Okay.
What are you really trying to achieve with education in this new age of AI?
What are your goals?
Exactly. Are you mostly focused on tech skills or are you thinking bigger? Do you want to develop well-rounded individuals, people who can think critically, solve problems creatively, contribute to society?
So how you answer that question?
It affects everything.
Yeah.
What technologies you invest in, what ethical guidelines you could create, everything.
It's like the foundation, right?
It is the foundation.
Okay, so start with a vision. What else?
Don't just focus on the tech. Think about how AI will change things.
Like what?
The role of teachers,
Mm-hmm.
how we design classrooms,
Right.
the relationships between students.
So it's not just about like plugging in some new gadgets
No, we have to rethink the whole learning experience.
to really make the most of AI.
Exactly. And we have to remember the human element, too. Invest in those human skills that AI can't do. Critical thinking, creativity, empathy, collaboration.
Those are going to be even more important.
In a world where AI can do all the routine stuff,
Yeah, so it's not about human versus AI
it's about finding that synergy.
working together.
Human intelligence and artificial intelligence working together.
Okay. Anything else you'd tell them?
Make sure everyone benefits.
What do you mean?
Make sure AI is creating more opportunities for all learners,
Mm-hmm.
no matter their background, no matter their circumstances.
Right. We have to be really careful about bias.
Oh, absolutely. Those algorithms can be biased.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to make sure everyone has access to these tools.
Because if we're not careful, AI could make those inequalities in education even worse.
Yeah, it could really widen the gap.
And we don't want that. We want to use AI to level the playing field.
Exactly. Make things fairer.
Okay, so a clear vision. Think about the whole learning experience. Focus on those human skills and make sure everyone benefits.
That's a good start.
Yeah, I like that. And that brings us back to all of you listening out there.
As we wrap up our deep dive.
Yeah, the future of learning is being shaped right now.
And you have a voice in that.
Talk about AI in your schools, in your communities.
Ask questions, share your hopes, share your concerns.
Let's work together to create an education system where AI helps every student reach their full potential.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's what we want to see. Thanks for joining us on this journey.
It's been a great conversation.
Yeah, and we hope it's given you some things to think about.
And maybe even inspired you to take action.